Good morning. I hope that you are all having a lovely day or afternoon or evening, whatever time it is where you are. I am here in beautiful Montana, and my heart is just feeling so open. Last night, I was able to connect with my nephew and niece, and it just felt like such a blessing. It was so profound, like right when they pulled up, this incredible and immense rainbow appeared in the sky. And I swear, it was like this rainbow. It was the most glorious rainbow you've ever seen. It was like a double rainbow, and it was literally glowing. It was just radiating light. And it was such a special moment because my nephew was so interested in it, and he had his binoculars on, and he was like, Matthew, or whatever he calls me, Matt, have you ever seen anything like this? I'm like, no, buddy, this is a once in a lifetime rainbow. I can promise you that. And I'm just sitting there taking pictures of it. And I really wish I would have recorded the moment because it was so special. And I just wanted to talk about, a little bit how everything works out and how life is really a beautiful synchronicity when we follow the true heart, when we follow our heart. Even if sometimes it kind of is not what you'd expect will happen, and sometimes things work out in a way you wouldn't imagine, but it's more perfect than you ever could have imagined. And that's exactly what I'm experiencing. And I just kind of want to share that story. And it's so interesting. I was in Spearfish, South Dakota for a while, camping and having a pretty good time. But I felt my heart. It was like pulling. I was like really fighting my heart the whole time because my heart was pulling me back to this river. This river where on the other side of it, there's this home that potentially I could live in. This like beautiful $1 million home. But the thing with this home is it's surrounded by the river because Mother Nature has, as one of my new friends in this little Montana town that the home is in, the owner of the home actually, he said, Mother Nature decided to let her hair down and it just flooded this area of Montana. Took many homes with it, unfortunately. But this was an opportunity for me to live in this beautiful home. If only I could get across this dang river. And I had tried before, but I had kind of chickened out. I had gotten really too scared. The river just felt too intimidating. And I just, I kind of just shrunk away from it and said, no, I'm not going to cross it. And it was just so heartbreaking. It just literally broke my heart. Because I had this beautiful vision for myself living in this home, shooting videos by the river every day, having family out to visit me, and it just having other people that I'm close to come visit me, like having this amazing home base, right? But the barrier to entry to living in this home was this getting across this river, navigating this river. And the air vessels that the man who owned it, it was all very spontaneous and synchronistic how I even met this person. I met him through someone I met on Airbnb who was totally random. And it's just like, it was really kind of a beautiful kind of random occurrence just meeting this man and having the opportunity to live in this home at all. Like it's just really something special how that even transpired and unfolded. But anyways, the air vessels that he had offered me to get across the river on, I just didn't feel that comfortable on. They were so foreign to me. I haven't been on a river in quite a while. I'm a really good swimmer. I grew up in water on a lake. I've been on a river quite a bit, but it's just been a while. And I felt so uncomfortable. And like I said, this river was really freaking flowing. So I just kind of like, I chickened out. Just, I don't say that in a harsh way, but yeah, I just said, no, I can't do this. I'll just go a different way, basically. And he was going to get some kind of motorcraft for me, but he never ended up doing that. And so that's when I headed to Spearfish, South Dakota and did some camping in the beautiful Black Hills. And in Spearfish, I got really reconnected to my divine mission, and I got really super connected to Gaia, and all was well in so many ways. But the entire time I was there, my heart, my broken heart was like pulling me back to that river. It was saying, you can cross that river. We got to get across that river. It was saying, there's something beautiful there that we have to go investigate. Getting so many chills saying this. And I was fighting it and saying, no, we just got to let it go. It's too scary. It's not practical. It's unreasonable. It's just all these, blocks would keep coming up. And so I was fighting my heart, and it was feeling really painful, but I was just, I was trying to do, the reasonable thing. And eventually my heart broke me down so much that I just got to the point where I couldn't fight it anymore. And I just said, all right, we'll go back to that damn river and we'll do whatever it takes to cross it. And I was like looking up these YouTube videos of these guys on a similar type of watercraft that the man who owns the house offered me to cross the river on. I would go on YouTube and I was watching them go through these rapids, and I was trying to kind of like mentally prepare myself to know, like, yeah, these little boats, these little pontoon boats he's offering me, they can do this. They can get across this river. It's like I was really trying to embody this attitude of I can do this. So I finally just listened to the true heart. I listened to what life was insisting and demanding I do. And I just picked up my tent and got in my car and drove basically in a straight line to this man's home. And I got there in the evening, so I camped out, but then the next morning, the first thing I did is I got everything prepared and I went to his house, and I was like, I'm crossing that river today. I'm gonna go check out this house. I'm gonna go see if this will work. And so I actually didn't even tell him I was at his house. And for a little bit, I just went there and I pulled the little pontoon boat out that I was going to cross the river. I pulled that out of the shed. I got it ready. I got my little grocery bag ready with some overnight stuff, the toothbrush, the floss, all of it. And once I had everything in place, and by the way, let me tell you, the river is now flowing much more intensely than it was the first time, because we've had a lot of snow melt here in Montana due to the weather warming up. So now the river is higher and it's flowing with more fierceness. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, oh my gosh, what are you doing to me, heart? What are you doing to me, God? But at the other part of it was I was actually really excited. I was like, I'm gonna face this river. I'm just gonna do it today. And part of the reason I wanted to go scout the river first and get the aircraft or the watercraft ready and everything is because I didn't want to call him unless I was 100% committed. I didn't want to call him and then back out again. I was like, I'm not doing that today. If I call him, I'm doing it. So I get to the river, I'm looking at it, and I'm not gonna lie, my body, it froze. It was like, holy fuck. But there was something in me, this courageous part of me that was like, we're facing this, we're doing this today. I don't care, it was almost like, I don't care what happens. Something in me knew I have to go through with this. I have to face this river. We're getting across one way or another. And today, and it was interesting. That morning, I felt so much more of a belief in myself. I had let go of a lot of worst case scenarios, and I was actually aligning with how it could work, how it was going to be fun, how it was going to be awesome, how I was going to be really good on the boat, on this little pontoon boat, how I was going to just figure it out, how I was feeling like this innate trust in life. I was like, life's got my back. If life led me here to cross this river, then I'm going to be just fine, and I'm just going to do it. So I get everything ready, and I muster up the courage, and I call him, and I say, hey, Tim, long time no talk. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm ready to go play on the river. And he laughs, and I'm like, I'm actually at your house right now. I've basically broke into your shed, and I pulled your pontoon boat out, and I'm all ready to go. So I actually just need an air compressor because the boat needed aired up. And also I needed his key to enter the house once I did cross the river. And he's like, well, actually, Matthew, me and one of my river rat friends, that's what people who love the river are referred to in Montana, like river rats, you know, they just love to be on the river. And so he told me, actually, me and one of my river rat friends, we crossed the river about a week ago. And I found out the house has major issues with water, and there's pipes that have burst, and there's all kinds of issues. And he's like, I'm sorry to tell you, but the house is essentially unlivable right now. And as he said that, I just got flooded with so many goosebumps and so much grace. And we just kind of had a nice little chat, and we just laughed about the whole thing. And I told him, well, I guess I'll put your boat back and in storage, and you know, get out of here. And it was interesting, like how it moved so much through my heart space, how in my heart it was like I knew I was crossing that river, and like how I had to face that fear. And even though like I didn't, and I'll get to the part of the story where it gets super magical about how it all worked out, but there was something in me that just like moved a lot of energy, and I had to face this really scared part of myself, because I knew once I called him, there was no backing out. And if he hadn't crossed, like I was crossing that river for sure. And there was something that I discovered within myself, like this fearless nature that I reconnected to, like this childlike, adventurous nature. Life didn't end up asking me to cross after all, but that, like, kind of backing out of it, I didn't want this to say this to be hard on myself, but I kind of felt like a bit of a coward, like, and I don't, that term can be used like so to really beat ourselves up with, but I just felt like I wasn't connected to this innate fearlessness within me when I had kind of backed out of the whole plan. And so going back, getting everything ready, being fully committed, knowing that I was going to do it deep in my heart, it just really, I don't know, it really was a beautiful kind of experience, just that in and of itself, to help me know my own courage and my own bravery and my own like willingness to do whatever God asks me to do, even if it seems scary to my ego, even if it seems impractical, unreasonable, kind of crazy. I knew that God was asking me to at least face the fear of crossing that river, and I knew I had met that fear fully, and that was so valuable to me. And so finally, I just let go of the whole idea, and I just kind of laughed about it. I said, "You're quite the trickster, God. Like, what the heck did you pull me here for then?" But that I realized, just to face the fear and to know I was going to do it, and like how that was such a gift. And then I was kind of sitting there. I was like, "Well, what am I going to do now? I'm exhausted. I've been kind of camping for a while. My car's a mess. You know, I would love to just regroup somewhere." And then I realized my parents' home was only 2 hours away. I was like, oh, I'm just going to drive there, hang out with them for a night or two, whatever. It's such a beautiful time of year in Montana. Go see them, surprise them. It'll be awesome. And oh, my battery's getting low. I better finish this. And I realized that in that moment, I realized, oh my gosh, my sister, nephew, and niece are going to be visiting the very next day. And it was just like this synchronistic timing. I probably never would have came home to see them otherwise, because I would have been off on my own adventures. Who knows? I would probably headed east. But because I was just already I had driven all the way back from South Dakota, and I was already in the area. It was such synchronistic timing. And I decided, yeah, I'll just go home. And then I realized how excited I was to get to see my family, my nephew, niece, and sister again. And I hadn't seen him in 10 months. And the last time I saw him, I was in this really rough shape. I had just returned from this intense, energetic, and spiritual experience in Tulum that I really needed to integrate. So I had no space to be around family. And I actually was only able to see him for like a night or two. And I had to just like kind of take off and go do my own thing. And just realizing how much my heart was so open and ready and willing to see them, and how much my heart wanted to connect with family again. And it was just, you know, this beautiful experience where I was actually, you know, sitting outside waiting for them to pull up for like 2 hours, like keeping my eye on the drive where they would pull in down the road. And just like, I was just anticipating their arrival so much. And you know, for a lot of my Kundalini awakening, reconnecting with and seeing family has been at this point of difficulty, and it's been so triggering, and it's just been this whole experience to where this time that's all shifted, and I was just so eager to, like, you know, share my open heart with them, to connect with them, to learn about them, you know, and it was just so fun. Like my nephew and niece, they were just so interested in everything when they got out here, the rainbow, the rain, the horses. My nephew wanted to go look for frogs with me. They wanted to go play on, they wanted to go play on the roof, and just being around them and their joyful spirits and just all their love and light. It was just like, felt so blessed. And I was like, oh, okay, everything does work out beautifully when we follow our heart. Maybe just not in the way we thought it was going to work out. And because I followed my heart, it pulled me back to Montana, and then it pulled me back home, and it just had everything line up with seeing my family that I haven't seen in a while. And like I said, the last time I saw them, I was just kind of in this rough condition. And so to see him this time with my heart so open and just so ready to really connect with them, it's been this immense gift. And I'm just like so happy to be here and to be sharing my life with them at this time. That, yeah, it's just, and just how they pulled up, and just like the specialness of like the rainbow and the weather, and the sky was like straight out of a fairy tale. It was like almost science fiction. It was so incredible. And just like, yeah, we just had so much, there was so much love going around. And like I said, I probably wouldn't have came back if I didn't feel this huge pull to like finally face my fear and cross the river. I wouldn't have even been here for all of this incredible, heart-touching connection. And so, yeah, and then our rooms are super close. So then we were just, I don't know, it was just fun, just playing with my nephew and niece. Like, it just brought so much freaking joy into my life. And so I'm just so glad that everything worked out exactly how it did. And that's pretty typical of what happens when we really give ourselves permission to follow our heart, no matter how crazy it might seem initially. So that's the video. It's gotten quite long. My battery's gonna die soon, so I'm gonna end it here. Just sending you all so much love. Thanks for being here. And I hope a lot of this heart-loving, this heart-open energy has helped you start your day in a really beautiful way. Namaste.